Hi, this is Crimson Chains here, your Pineapple Queen, and today I'm going to be doing a critique for you. This critique picture was sent in by Brainrunninwild. It's the only one I'm doing this time, but it's really cute. I love it. Halloween Yuri are very sorry I didn't get this done in time. They sent this to me like literally a month ago, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it soon. Never. Okay, but I'm doing it now. They specifically requested that they wanted a critique on color, so I think I'm just going to focus on that for now. So as you can see, skin color base is pretty good, but the shadow is, at least not the way I would do it. The way I like to do shadow is I like to take from the base color and then pick something a little bit more warm, something over in the orangey reddish range, and then work with that for the shading. So you see here, just going to pop this right on top. Use this sort of pinkish color for the shadows instead. I'm going to duplicate this and work directly on it, because the way I color is I usually just work directly on the same layer the entire time, mostly just because I'm lazy. If you want to separate things out by layers, like do a skin tone layer, do a hair layer, and things like that, I think that's totally good. It's very easy to keep organized that way. I just get really lazy and it takes a lot of time to do that, so I stopped doing that recently. And probably should have mentioned this sooner, but usually you like to pick a light source. So let's pretend the sun's over there so that you know where you're going to have the shading. So sun's over here, hat, casting the brim. Also going to put shading on this side of the nose and face. Gonna cast shadow here on the cloak, and that's how I'd handle the skin more or less. I'm gonna touch this up. That's why it's good to definitely have your line art on a different layer, which is something I definitely still do. Alright, and that's the main difference I would do with skin tone, is just pick a shading color that was a little bit warmer. You can do cooler too, depending on the lighting of the piece. If you have like a cooler night scene, maybe purplish or bluish tones would be better for the shadows. But let's just pretend it's like a sunny day. So that's some cool, well actually warm tones. Okay. Now, whenever I work with black, I like to add in a little more color. Again, I just like colors, especially like blue. For when I'm doing blacks. Bluish blacks are some of my favorites. And so I would just make the shadows and parts of the hats a little more color, just to have it pop, especially against this orange you have here. If you have sort of a cooler color for the black, it'll really help it pop out more. You can see that I also go pretty saturated on this. When I'm doing darker colors, I like to go a little more saturated so you can really see the color underneath the black. But just starting with a base color when you use black for just giving a little extra color, I think works out really well. So you can start out with like a dark blue, and then the shadows themselves can be blackish, just adding a really nice undertone to it all. And if you want to keep up like this warm theme, you could even add just like hints of red in the shadows, just something else to really make it stand out against the rest of the piece. Again, this brush I'm using is some kind of watercolor brush I downloaded from Clip Studio Paint. You can find a lot of really cool brushes there, and the nice thing about this one is just that it has this texture effect, and it can do really, really intense colors, or it can do really, really subtle colors based on pressure. Similar with the hair, I usually like to add in a few color highlights just to make it pop a little bit more. And something I do, and it's not something you have to do, something that I like to do, is I'll take whatever underlying color I have, in this case it's blue, I'll take a light color, that's saturated, have almost more whites, and just add these little dollops of shine to it. Again, this is purely like what I prefer to do, but you don't have to do this thing, something I like to do. And that really influences the color. And then the last trick I could do, which is just a fun trick to do all the time, is to do an overlay filter. And this will just let you add color on top of things. Like, again, if you want to make the piece more blue, just take this blue color and use the airbrush to just move it along the piece. And then usually using some kind of complementary color. I like using blue and purple. Adding it along as well. Lowering the opacity a little bit to make sure it doesn't seem too saturated. And I think that's basically what I can give for advice in terms of coloring. Just know where your light source is. If you're doing skin tones, I like to choose warm colors for the shadows, but it really depends on the lighting of the piece, and also people have different skin tones too. It's just usually blood vessels near the surface will make skins kind of a warmer tone. And then just this cute overlay trick to intensify the colors. But that is what I would say you could do for colors. But once again, totally my opinion. And I leave it up to you. Thank you again for Brainrunninwild for sending in a piece so I could help work on this. I think I'm still trying to work on how I want to do critiques, but it's been really fun, and I hope it's been somewhat educational. So, this is your friendly neighborhood pineapple, signing off. Thank you for listening. Bye!